What if I told you that XRP, a cryptocurrency that has already made waves in the financial world, might be about to hit $10,000 per coin? It may sound impossible, but Donald Trump's recent words about XRP have caused a lot of talk about its future. Trump just revealed something that many people already knew. Trump has always been clear about his views on cryptocurrencies. That could have huge effects on the price of XRP. He talked about a huge supply shock that could make XRP worth a lot of money. But what does this mean for the future of XRP? How could this supply shock take the cryptocurrency to new heights? Major banks already use XRP to make it easier for people to send money across borders, so it's clear that it works. Quicker and cheaper deals, but what if there was a sudden change in the supply chain that caused a huge increase in demand? The idea of XRP reaching $10,000 might sound like a pipe dream, but Trump's confirmation of a possible supply shock and the growing use of Ripple's technology mean that this kind of surge could happen sooner than we think. Many investors, analysts, and crypto fans are paying close attention to how this could play out, and many think that XRP's price could soon reach levels that were once thought to be impossible. Let's look into the shocker and see how XRP could go from its current price to $10,000 per coin. Thanks to an event that Trump himself called game-changing, has hinted at a possible $10,000 XRP. To understand why this might happen, we must first explain what a supply shock is and how it impacts the market. When the supply of an asset drops suddenly and without warning, causing an imbalance between supply and demand, this is called a supply shock. This can happen when the supply of a product or currency drops but demand stays the same, or if the amount of XRP in circulation goes down, either because Ripple decides to or because of outside factors. The price of XRP tends to rise very quickly. This could cause a supply shock, which could have huge effects in a market as volatile and sensitive as cryptocurrencies. At the moment, banks use XRP for quick transactions, international transfers that are cheap thanks to Lightning. Even though XRP has fast transaction times and low fees, its total supply is still a major factor that affects its price. There are already billions of XRP in circulation, so the demand for the cryptocurrency has to be high enough to absorb that supply. If Ripple or government officials cut down on the number of XRP coins on the market by putting them in escrow accounts or limiting the production of new tokens, this could make it so that there aren't enough coins to meet rising demand. This would cause the price to rise, which is where the $10,000 per coin forecast comes in. What Trump said adds an interesting layer to this. His participation in the conversation says that outside forces like government or regulatory acts might be having an unexpected effect on the market. When it comes to money, Trump has always been a controversial figure. His interest in XRP could give the possibility of a supply shock more weight. Whether Trump is talking to policy changes in a roundabout way or supporting digital currencies, in general, the idea that XRP could have a sudden supply change is growing. Gains in the financial world and the growing acceptance of digital currencies by governments and financial institutions around the world are making the perfect conditions for a huge price rise as more companies and banks turn to Ripple's technology for faster transactions. Funds that work better. The demand for XRP will only increase if the supply of XRP is limited. At the same time, the price of XRP could skyrocket in a way that reminds us of other cryptocurrency booms like Bitcoin. The $10,000 price point may seem impossible right now, but with the right set of circumstances, such as a supply shock, institutional adoption, and as demand rises, the chance of this happening becomes more likely. What are the main factors that could cause this shock? Let's look at the things that could make the XRP go down. Ripple's own moves in supply could cause XRP to become scarce, as could changes in the crypto market or choices made by regulators. When put together, these events could cause a huge rise in the value of XRP, pushing it up to moving toward the $110,000 mark. And to fully understand how a supply shock could send XRP to $10,000, Ripple could lower the accessible supply, so it's important to look at how that could happen. Ripple's power over the supply of XRP is one of the most important parts of this equation. A big chunk of the overall supply of XRP is held by Ripple. A certain amount of XRP is held in escrow accounts and can be released into circulation every month. This system was put in place to make sure that the supply of XRP would be stable and predictable. However, if Ripple decides to lower the amount of XRP released, either by extending the escrow period or burning some tokens, the total supply in circulation would go down. This would cause a supply shock because there would be less XRP available for purchase. This would make more people want to buy it, which would cause demand to rise and the price would go up sharply. Ripple may decide to burn XRP or slow its release based on the market or as a way to increase the value of XRP. For example, if demand for XRP starts to rise faster than supply, especially as more financial institutions take on risk. Ripple's system for sending money across borders. Ripple could decide to limit the supply of XRP to stop inflation and protect its value. By doing this, Ripple would not only protect XRP's long-term value, but it could also cause a huge price increase as investors and companies rush to adopt Ripple's technology. In addition to Ripple's possible actions, other technologies would have to compete for the limited quantity of XRP, which would drive up the price. In the coming years, as cryptocurrencies become more accepted, changes in regulations could also cause a supply shock. Government in many places around the world, regulators are looking more closely at digital assets. Effect when XRP comes out on the market, especially if states take a more hands-on way to manage the flow of digital monies. If regulators limit the amount of XRP in circulation, for example by making changes to the rules about how tokens can be traded or kept, there may not be as much to go around, which drives up the price. It could be further as more countries adopt digital currencies or Ripple's blockchain technology as part of their financial infrastructure. The demand for XRP will grow even more. The bigger picture of the cryptocurrency market could also change as more institutional investors become interested in cryptocurrencies. A lot of people might be interested in XRP as a possession. Scale financial institutions because it is stable and quick for cross-border transactions. This higher demand from institutions could far exceed the supply. There will be more supply, which will drive up the price of XRP. This has happened before with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. When big companies get involved, prices go up a lot. If XRP does the same, its value could go up. Ripple's supply management choices, regulatory actions, and institutional adoption are all coming together at the same time. This could lead to a supply shock that could send XRP to $110,000 if the factors align. There is a chance that rising demand will create a perfect storm that will push the price of XRP to all-time highs. Choices are outside market forces. The supply shock could be the key to releasing XRP's full potential, allowing things that were once unthinkable to happen.